Bang! Neeves Knives, I'm Jared, and today we are checking out this new knife from MIGURON Knives, the MALORY. And the MALORY, man, MIGURON is doing a really good job, not only with their premium models, but with their budget knives. This is under $60. It's like $53, something like that. And don't ever quote me on prices. They're always subject to change. There could be sales, there could be deals. Always check the description. I always link everything in there. Now, this one's a good one. They did a really good job on this, and we're gonna pull up a couple other MIGURON budget knives here in a second and kind of compare them, because a lot of these, or a few of these, I should say, have been very popular in the knife community as far as budget knives go. And their premium knives, but you know, specifically for their budget knives, they have a bunch that are really good. 14C 28N hollow ground sheep's foot blade gets down to a nicely thin edge, and 14C 28N does really well with thin edges. So 14C was originally developed from AEBL, which was originally developed for razor blades, and it was made to be heat treated on an assembly line, basically like on a conveyor belt, which makes it to where the steel can be easily heat treated, especially when you're doing it on something like this, where it's like a special application where you're a little bit more careful with the heat treatments, because if it's so easy to heat treat them that way, then they're going to do really well, you know, with standard heat treatments. Anyway, so for mass production, which is typically what you see with affordable knives and even a lot of premium knives, they have to be able to heat treat these steels pretty quickly. And 14C does really well with that. Now, it's not the longest edge holding steel. I do think the charts and graphs are a little off. They typically give it a 3 out of 10 for edge retention. I think it's more of a 4 out of 10 for edge retention. But that's me though. And there's a lot of incredible steels. Now, it has off the charts toughness though. So because of its toughness being so high, and great corrosion resistance, by the way, and its ability to hold a decent edge, the toughness just allows it to get this super thin grinds and edges, which massively improves edge retention and things like that. So having a knife that performs very well within geometry is very important, which 14C does really, really good with that. So, you know, being as tough as it is, you know, it can have nice thin grinds and thin edges and still be plenty stable. Now, it also takes a really, really good fine edge. It's a steel that does well, especially the higher the HRC, it does very well with polished edges, low angle edges, and yeah, so because of that edge stability, man, those low angle edges just get razor sharp and they hold very, very well. So always happy to see 14C. I think it is an amazing affordable steel. I think it's the best affordable steel. Then we have green micarta scales with steel liners and a black G10 backspacer and a titanium mill pocket clip. You're getting a titanium mill pocket clip for you know, around 50 bucks. That's really, really good. Now, the ergos, this is slightly slim right here and it thickens up a little bit right there, which is perfect. The width, the height, the slightly contouredness feels really good in the hand, and you can still choke up. So this is going to do great for utility cuts. Being that this is nice and straight right here, you can easily cut straps because all the pressure is going to be, you know, it's going to go across your hands instead of, you know, in specific points. So it's going to be a lot easier. Pinch grips are going to be great. Forward grip for slicing, you get a lot of control because you get up nice and tight to that edge. And yeah, man, this is very, very well done. Let's talk about the action, then we're going to compare it to some of their other budget knives. So we have a flipper tab, and the detent is tuned very, very well. I would give this a 5 out of 10 in strength, and 5 out of 10 would basically leave it perfect. I technically prefer more of like a 6 out of 10, 6.5, maybe even a 7 out of 10. But that is on the stronger side. A 4 would be slightly on the softer side. This is where it's like just perfect. You break that detent and she flips out. I can probably fail it. Yeah, I can fail it if I really try, which I could do that on most knives, even 6 out of 10 knives. So nice detent. And then you have this fuller that's nice and sharp. I love that they left it nice and sharp. I hate when I get a fuller and it's smooth or slick, because then it's like I just want to use it, you know, or I want to easily use it. And then with this one, it literally catches you. It's got a nice sharp edge on it, so it's very effortless to flick this one out with this fuller. And to me, this has an overall good look. I like seeing T8 hardware all the way around, even on the pocket clip. That's always good to see. Good access to that lock bar. The detent's a little bit late, but it's still easy to get past, so not a big deal at all. Sharp and Show and plunge grind is in the okay zone. I typically want the end of this plunge grind to be way back here. However, this still passes in my book because they left you at least a few sharpenings in there, and this is nice and thin behind the edge, so you'll get a bunch of sharpenings out of it before you hit the plunge grind. Now, stop pin is right there, as you can see, so it's not in any way, or it's not in the way of anything. Now, let's compare it really quick, and then we'll go into nitpicks and negatives. So we have the MIGURON here, another one that's been very popular from MIGURON, right around the same price, give or take, and it has the titanium mill pocket clip. Comes in a few different colors. By the way, this one does come in multiple different colors. It comes in a blue and a black version. The blue looks really, really nice, the blue micarta. But the MIGURON 14C micarta, great knife. Then we have the Curix. This is the budget version. There is a premium version. There's actually a premium version of all of these knives. This one, I'm sure eventually this one. I think they actually have one that's very similar to this already as a premium knife. But the Curix, oh man, this is another one, man. This thing could totally be in the running for best budget knife of the year, you know, because it is so, so good. Then we have this guy right here with his little brother, the same model. This is the large, there's a medium and a small, but this one is a bit more compact, and it is, again, great flipping action, great fuller, right or left-handed, and the big guy, this was their first great budget knife right here, and they've made multiple improvements on it since it first came out, and it's only gotten better and better. If you like large knives, this is a great one. So considering their lineup, and they have more than this was just a few of them that I pulled out. They have a bunch of amazing, affordable knives, and this is another one that they can add to their catalog. This could potentially be in the running, if not be good enough to win Budget Knife of the Year, considering its price, the materials, the build quality. So we'll see how that goes. They're definitely going to have a knife in the best budget knife of the year award for my, you know, category. I'll probably list out about 10 of them or so. And yeah, this one's doing very well because, you know, it's so affordable for what you're getting. And when you talk about a knife in this price range, there's specific things you're looking for that are, and to me personally, are going to stand out, because what I expect these things to go through, I expect these to be users. I expect these to be somewhat abused in a way, and, you know, not necessarily kept pristine. So I look for little indicators like how well can it sharpen up? You know, how much life does it have? What's the geometry like? Is the action very easy to deploy and get into the fight and then back out of the fight easily? You know, and then the handle materials, how well's the ergonomics and all these things. So very excited to see everything that MIGURON comes out with. They are doing a really good job. Of course, I always have my nitpicks and negatives. So let's talk about that really quick. Now, to be honest, I don't really have too much on this guy right here in particular. One thing is that I want them to work on their pocket clips, put more room underneath. This one's fine. It works just fine, so I don't want to complain too much about this one. But if you have super thick jeans, this might be a little tight. So I wish they would just put a little bit more room, raise them up just slightly. It's still got plenty of room before it'll ever irritate your hand, so I'd love to see that. One little nitpick, I would like to see them do lower angle edges. They just, you know, they could be a bit sharper. Not that they're not sharp, because they are, they're just fine. And some people probably prefer a tougher edge. But just a little bit, you know. I don't mean a lot. I don't mean they need to go dramatic, but this is 14C. It does really well with low angle edges. So I think just lowering back their edge angles just slightly from the factory. Now you can always do that from home, so it's not that big of a deal. That's why it really can't be a negative, because that's something, you know, you should be making your own anyways, right? You should be putting the edge on there that is best for you. But I think from the factory, I think people would have a better time keeping and holding a factory edge with a little bit of a lower edge angle. So when they strop, it's a little bit easier and a little bit more effective, and so on. So not too low to where people are worried about the edge or anything, but just, you know, a little tiny bit lower, you know, bring up the sharpness and performance, you know, a bit, which, you know, who's going to complain about that? Other than that, the only other thing is, you know, and this is not even a negative, because like I said, the sharp control and plunger end did pass because it is moved away from the edge. However, I'd prefer it to be back even farther. Not that that's, you know, a negative or anything, because like I said, it still does pass. This is just something more of like a preference. All in all, the negatives are very, very, very limited. Some people, and this is just a person thing, you see how the liners are exposed? This used to be a really cool thing. People used to love this. I'm trying to think of what they called it. They called it something. Now we have knives that do inset liners. Some of them are just flush, like we see here. Nice thick liners too. Look at how thick this liner is. This is a great thickness for liners. And, you know, like I said, there's all different styles. This one, shadow boxed, that's what it's called. So this one has shadow boxed liners, which personally, I think is pretty cool. I think it looks good. And if you ever did want to kind of make, like, if you like to modify knives and make your own stuff, you could make scales for this fairly easily. Not that most people are going to do that or anything, but I like the shadow boxed liners. Now, I don't like it on everything. I like inset liners. I like a little bit of everything, but I think in this case, it makes this one look good and does stand out. I really, really like that blue one. But there you guys go. Work hard, stay tough. Until next time, peace.